And what we're seeing in modern times is because of the Me Too movement, because of how the media shows men, there are a lot of good men that have become fearful, and they have taken a step back.
So, imagine a society that spends 15 years telling men that masculinity is toxic, that the future is female, and men are no longer needed. Then, when all hell breaks loose, they start looking for those same men and blaming them blaming them as to why everything is so messed up and asking them, "Oh, save us, save us, save us, God Almighty." Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Guys, it's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back with another video here on your guys' YouTube channel. I'm trying something a little different. If you've not heard of me before, make sure to follow me on Andy Matrix Gaming, where I talk about anime, gaming, Japanese culture, all those cool things, and some social issues as well. So go ahead and click the link in the description. Follow me. I'm trying to reach 3,000 subscribers. If you'd like to help me out with that, I greatly appreciate it. And guys, make sure to follow Angry Guy on Rumble because he uploads a lot of content that he's not allowed to upload on YouTube. So if you want to check some of that spicy stuff out, then yeah, click the link in the description, go to Rumble and follow Angry Guy over there too. And everybody, listen, times are getting hard. Times are getting hard. The economic collapse is here. You know, jobs are disappearing. We have lost about, I'm gonna say, close to 4 million jobs in America alone. You know, this is not even to mention Canada or the Western countries, but in America alone, we have lost about 4 million jobs. And there's gonna be a famine coming. Food prices are going up. Inflation is not stopping. And basically it's getting harder and harder and harder to find a job, and people are being pushed to the brink of despair, my friend. And so everybody's being pushed to basically tend for themselves. So you're going to have to eventually open up a business, start a business somehow. One of the best ways to start your own business is on the internet, which is why I say go ahead and check out Angry's Creator Academy, where you learn how to create your own online business using YouTube, digital products, and all those other things, right? So see it as a shortcut to get there, So now that we got that out of the way, let's move on with the video. Yeah. So there are a few things that have freed men from their responsibilities in our modern world. One of the first things is feminism, of course, the feminist movement. Because of this, men feel they don't need to commit to women, as women allow themselves to be used for sex and other things. And you know what? Many times, guys don't even have to pay for it. You know what I mean? And the second one is how much Western society has come to hate men, has come to hate the male gender. Why participate in a system that hates you and only wants you to work and pay taxes and give you no authority in your own home with your own family? Right? So why even start a family if you're not even going to have authority? You're just going to be a workhorse. You wonder why so many guys, run away. Anyways, the third one is technology, because even now, despite of the economic downturn, it is easy to survive being single. And men know that the less things they have, the easier it is to survive, right? So being single is a good choice. If you have no responsibilities other than yourself, you can keep the cost low, the cost of living low, and just worry about you and God. There are many services that allow people to live somewhat comfortably. For example, if you are homeless, you can live in your car or a van, and take a shower at the gym for $20 a month, right? Instead of sleeping in the street. So right there, you got a roof over your head and a place to shower, so you don't go stinking public places. And technology has made it easy for people to communicate and to get entertainment. All you need is a cell phone. As long as you get your cell phone, you're good. Download some apps and you're good to go. You can even make money with your cell phone by driving with DoorDash, Uber, and other apps, right? And thus, here we are. 85% of men have decided they don't want to deal with women anymore and want to be left alone. So today we're going to be reacting to Manosphere Highlight Daily. All right. So let's go ahead and get started.
And what we're seeing in modern times is because of the Me Too movement, because of how the media shows men, there are a lot of good men that have become fearful, and they have taken a step back.
What do you feel the role of a man in a relationship should be?
That's a loaded question.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily, where we call out effing foolishness, expose women's hypocrisy, dismantle double standards, and stand up for men. Now, in the CBS documentary, Boys to Men, Why America's Sons Are Struggling, there's one guy they feature named Michael. And honestly, you don't need to be Rep Hill or even part of the Manosphere to get what he's saying. His answers alone give you the foundation for why men are walking away, why guys are checking out of the dating market, and why philosophies like men going their own way even exist.
Michael, who asked his last name be withheld for privacy, is in his late 30s and looking for love. A co-owner of a small business. He's one of the growing number of men over 35 that's never been married.
Michael is a single man in his late 30s, and when you listen to him, you realize something. He's not bitter, he's not angry, he's not even extreme. He's just laying out the facts of what it is like being a man trying to date in this environment. And what's wild is that any guy watching this, no matter where you fall on the spectrum, can nod his head and say, "Yep, I feel that." So let's break it down, clip by clip. First up, let's hear what Michael says about his experience.
Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we many.
He says he's been in several long-term relationships, but hasn't yet found the one. You've been in relationships.
I was single for pretty much all my 20s. I didn't want to be. I wanted to be in a relationship, but it was like one of those things where I hadn't found myself yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trying to figure that stuff out.
That's what your 20s are for.
Exactly. And then my 30s, the majority of my 30s I've been in relationships, right? There was one person I dated for about 3 years that was just a phenomenal person. I still think the world of her. Unfortunately, we kind of got to a place where we're like, oh, God, everything's great. We should be running to go get married, but we're not.
Stop it right there. Let's clear something up, because this is exactly where the media gets it twisted. Guys like Michael get labeled as incels the moment they speak honestly about their experiences. But did you just hear what he said?
That's what your 20s are for.
Exactly. And then my 30s, the majority of my 30s I've been in relationships, right?
This is actually very true. This is actually very true. See, the media wants you to think that there's like millions of incels out there, that the reason why they don't have a girlfriend or wife is because they can't talk to people. They're antisocial, like they're losers living in their mom's basement. And those men do exist. I've met plenty of them, but I've also met plenty of dudes that were absolute like chats with girls, better than me, for God's sake, way better than me. Okay, there's a lot of men out there that they make really good money, and once they make that money, they just want to be in peace. They just want to be in peace. They might want to get laid here and there once in a while, but they don't want none of that nonsense, just yelling, screaming, drama, blah, 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 frickety blah, right? They just want peace and quiet and enjoy their money, go to church, praise God, and travel the world. And yeah, and the men are very simple creatures. I am a very simple creature. We just want peace, quiet, good food, and good sex. And that's it. So you see this guy right here. He's obviously very successful. He's not bitter. He's not angry. Right? He's just like, you know what? None of my relationships have worked out, and I'm really happy being single. The less responsibilities, the better. And that's how a lot of guys actually are in the real world. Myself included. With me, my problem was I said, I don't want to get married in America. I do want to get married and have children, just not in America. That was my problem. And all because things just started to get more and more and more expensive in America. I said, man, I got to get the heck out of here somehow, right? And of course, one of the problems as well is that there was a lot of like loose females here in America. And a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a lot of attitude. Just like, I don't know, man, like a lot of girls in the West, like American chicks, like I just didn't want to marry them. you know, they were good for the bedroom, but I did not want to marry them. You understand? And that's just how a lot of guys feel. You know, anyways, let's go back to the video.
He's been in relationships, plural. The issue isn't that he can't get women, it's when he couldn't. In his 20s, he wanted a real relationship, but women didn't. That's when they're out living their fun years. He didn't say he couldn't get sex. He said he didn't want to be single. Big difference. And let's be real, who's driving hookup culture? It's not men begging for one-night stands. It's women choosing them. If most women actually want a commitment in their 20s, they'd be married like their grandmas were.
Yes, guys, and nobody's even thinking about getting married during this economic downturn. I mean, we have lost so many jobs, millions and millions of jobs. I believe 4 million, up to 4 million by now. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of men don't want to date. A lot of dudes are just saving money, you know, or they go back to live with their parents, living in the basement, living in their car, or just living just with roommates. Just, you know, a lot of them are actually, you know, making a six-figure, just making a good salary, but living with roommates just to save money. You know, and as we are losing a lot of jobs, and inflation just keeps going, and everything just seems to get more difficult. And if you lose your job, it's going to be harder to find one. You know, you know, a lot of people are being pushed into just being independent. And with being independent, you know, you have to basically start your own business. Even if you don't have any money, you're going to have to start thinking of ideas to sell. Right, to sell something, provide some type of service so that you can, you know, generate income for yourself. And one of the best ways to generate income is on the internet, which is why I'm recommending the Angry Guy Content Academy. That is right. So everything from starting a YouTube channel, you know, video creation, selling digital products, anything of that nature. Angry Guys Content Creation. Excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied. Angry Guys Content Academy is going to show you how to start your own online business, your own brand, because now it's branding is it here. You know, creating your own brand for whatever type of service you're thinking, for whatever type of, you know, whatever type of business you're thinking of doing. What if it's art? You know, I like art. You can use this for any type of business. You know, art. If you're an accountant, if you're, I don't know, if you like mathematics, if you're a teacher, right? The Angry Guys Creator Academy will be good. You can get started on getting the knowledge, you know, get a shortcut to getting the knowledge on creating content, so then you can generate an income and sell your service or digital products, whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? And also, if you're thinking about leaving the country, having a digital business is like one of the best ways to, you know, get up and get out. So go ahead and click the link in the description, guys, to check out Angry Guys Content Academy. Link is in the description. Check it out. Go there, and if you sign up today, you even get like a free guide when you sign up in the through the link. So let's go back to our video.
Now let's talk about why that 3-year relationship didn't last, because that's where it all falls apart.
Michael's story is becoming more common by the decade. In 1949, more than 75% of U.S. households were headed by married couples. As of 2024, that number has plummeted to just 47%. Do you think it's becoming harder to date?
It's just different. I look at my grandparents, you know, my grandfather was a blind date with my grandma in a rowboat on Coney Island. He said, "I'm going to marry you," and she thought he was crazy, and it took him 7 dates to kiss her. It's both easier and more difficult, I'd say, because you can find what you're looking for easier today. I mean, you have an app and you have access to everyone who's single in the area. It's like a superpower, right?
Yeah.
Like there's always something better around the corner, right? And I think a lot of people lose focus of the, you know, can I be in the here and now with the person?
Do you mean people or do you mean women, Michael? Come on, man. This same documentary showed us the numbers. 3% match rate for men, 31% for women. There's your first clue. It's not the men who think there's always something better around the corner. It's women swimming in options, thinking every guy's disposable.
What do you feel the role of a man in a relationship should be?
That's a loaded question.
What do you feel you should bring to a relationship?
Look, I think that's contingent on what the two individuals think, feel, and believe, and then how they come together. I think a very good quote, and I'm going to botch it, relationships, they're not 50-50. they're 80-20, they're 60-40, you know, like and you trade off. I think it's a dance, you know, what the roles are. There's the question of, you know, how you show up, what you should do, what you shouldn't do.
So there's a lot of things that this guy was afraid to say, right? Because he knows that he's like on a documentary, so he didn't want to say, oh, because it was very obvious that he believed in the you know, in gender roles, right? But he worded it a little different. You know, that there's no such thing as 50-50 in a relationship, right? You know, that's what he said. That he's telling you there's no such thing as 50-50. And that's what a lot of girls want nowadays. No, excuse me, that's not what girls want nowadays. There's no such thing as 50-50. So he said, so he wanted to be the man in the relationship. He wanted to be, you know, the guy running the house. He wanted to have a housewife, and he wanted to have all those things. But it seems like the woman that he was dating, they didn't want that. They wanted the, like, it's like they were like the feminist type, that they wanted to be the leader in the relationship. Basically, they wanted to be the leader, and then he will be the workhorse, but he would have no authority. And that's how it is. They don't want men to have authority in the household. And this is what it is, how it's like now in the modern world, in the Western world, that is. Okay, so he was being very careful with his wording, but you can tell that that's what he was trying to say. There's no such thing as 50-50 in a relationship, right? We know what you're trying to say, bro. We know what you're trying to say. Don't worry. Let's go back.
You see that? Michael's not confused. He's careful. He knows the trap. The moment a man answers that question honestly without the politically correct filter, he's getting cooked online. And the worst part, women know this too.
With girls, you need to make sure that they are, you know, strong. It's easy to say, you need to be strong, you need to be independent, you need to, you know, look after yourself and be in control. And with boys, you can't really say that, because if you tell a boy you need to be in control, it just sounds wrong. And
boom! That's it. That's the programming. We grew up on that, especially sons of single mothers.
Okay, I had to stop the video right there, because this is me right here. You see that the mom, right? The mom with the boy right there, the son, right? She's probably a single mother. She's got the son there, and she is raising him and teaching him how, you know, her ways. And you heard it, like, you know, telling the boy that, oh, he should be in charge. That's wrong. That's wrong. What do you mean that's wrong? That's how it's always been until now. That's why society is not working. That's why society is not working. This is exactly what I grew up hearing. Like, I don't want to give you too much about my life, but I had let's say I had okay, I'm just gonna say my mother told me that, oh, just being a man doesn't mean just having a penis, blah, 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 blah. And basically, she wanted to be the boss of the house, but she wanted me to be like the workhorse. No, I'm the boss here, but you're going to be doing all the work. She was boss. She was a boss. That's what she was. And that's what I grew up believing, is that, oh, well, I can't be like too masculine, because then girls are going to get scared. And that's what's happened. That's why a lot of these single mothers, they're raising a lot of these, you know, I guess what's the easiest way to say is just beta male, or like these simpy guys they created a society of simps, because they're the ones raising them, and you know, kick out the father out. They don't let the father, you know, be a father, be a man, right? And then they raise their sons with all these feminine traits. Let's go back.
You're taught from day one that your strength, your leadership, your masculinity has to be watered down so nobody feels uncomfortable. Michael's response isn't hesitation, it's survival instinct. He's been trained to self-censor, because telling the truth costs men everything now. And the pendulum has swung so far in one direction that even the mainstream media is forced to admit it. Not because they care about men, but because men are opting out in droves.
And what we're seeing in modern times is because of the Me Too movement, because of how the media shows men, there are a lot of good men that have become fearful, and they have taken a step back.
Exactly. That right there is the aftermath. The Me Too movement 2017. Every content creator that came after 2017, they're just remixing what's already been said. The OGs laid the foundation for this space, long before there were super chats and sponsorships. Shout out to Barbarossa, Barbar. Salute! We were here, liking the content, sharing it, commenting, holding the line. Hold the freaking line! And when money entered the game, a flood of new voices, even female ones, started parroting the same talking points. But make no mistake, it was the Me Too movement that accelerated men going their own way. That was the turning point where men realized, no matter what I do, I lose.
What are some of the qualities that are important to you?
So what's important to me with the person is at the core of who they are. You know, like I want someone who's driven but not blinded by their drive. You know, so someone who's motivated, who wants to do something. I want someone who says yes to fun opportunities, like, you know, hey, I saw this thing on Instagram. This is a really cool waterfall in upstate. You know, I want to go check it out. It's like, absolutely, I'll get the snacks, right? Or I've already got a playlist for this. Great idea. You know, like to actively go do that stuff.
The challenging part is that, at least from my experience, most women still do want a guy who sees it as his role to provide for his family. And this is the tension, is that people say, we don't want men to think of themselves this way, even while expecting men to fulfill these traditional roles. Because the fully modern man who says, you know what, I'm looking for a breadwinner wife. When you get 15 inches of snow in the winter, I can sip my hot cocoa while watching her in the window as she shovels our cars out. I don't know many women who want that kind of guy. But the messages you get from the culture is that men should sort of throw off anything that reeks of tradition and embrace anything that smells like modernity.
And there you have it, folks. There you have it. So yeah, and that guy in the documentary, the white dude, I forgot his name, but you see how he was being very careful about what he said. He was choosing his words carefully, even when they asked him, like, "Hey, what do you want in a woman?" And then he said, "Oh, somebody that's driven, but it's not blinded by their drive." I mean, you can kind of tell what kind of female he was dealing with, right? But yeah, this is how it is. It's just society has pushed men out. Society has pushed men out, and so that's why you have 80% of men. This is Gen Z, millennials, Gen X. I don't know about the boomers. The boomers are simps. Gen X, they're badass, but the boomers are freaking simps, you know. Yeah, but it's just like 3 generations of men just being avoidant of all these things. And I feel bad for, what's the next one? Gen Alpha and Gen Beta, the next generation's coming up. With all these things that are happening, I don't even know. Like, are they even going to understand what marriage is in the future? That's my question. Are they even going to understand it? Because if we do not show them what it's like, how a father should be, how a mother should be, how you should run a family, right? They're gonna be learning this on the internet, right? Or from their single mothers, like I did, you know. And I had a very different mentality growing up. You know, I was a simp. I'm not gonna lie. Growing up, I was a simp. I was a beta male freaking simp. I'm not gonna lie. Growing up with grandma and stepmom and all that shit, you know, and my father not being around. This is what turned me into a beta simp. Because if the problem is that you start thinking like the female gender. You start thinking like the female gender, and that's why when you start dating in your teens or early 20s, this is why a lot of women are repelled by you. Right? Unless they're a liberal woman. And even then, a liberal woman, she might like you because you have these traits, but then she'll get tired of you 6 months to a year later. And she's going to go for a real dude, a real man. Happens all the time. But hey, what do I know? Make sure to comment, like, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment below, guys. Tell me what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Andy Matrix. Godspeed.